So it's not like this is something new to us, walking this fine line. But I think I should emphasize that NATO, it's not NATO itself, NATO as an institution that provides these weapons at all. It's the nations of NATO. And so it's great that the foreign minister went to meet with other colleagues at NATO headquarters to talk about NATO providing assistance. But it's really those nations sitting around the table, those foreign ministers, that have to be able to do more. And I think what we're seeing in the Central East European allied countries, they're digging deep into their former Soviet arsenal, and they're pulling out T-72 tanks and the old BMP armored personnel carriers that the Ukraine army knows how to operate, and they're beginning to send those over. I just wish they would hurry to get them over, and the ammunition that comes with them as well. Outside that close sphere, also the equipment isn't necessarily the former Soviet equipment that the Ukraine army knows how to use, but it is more sophisticated, Western-oriented equipment. I saw on Twitter just a few minutes ago that someone had said that the UK government was going to provide Harpoon anti-ship missiles. I haven't heard that confirmed. We want to wait to hear what Westminster says. But if that's true, that'd be a great step up. And it's something that Ukraine has asked for, and they need those down there off the Black Sea to keep the Russian Navy offshore, well offshore. And the Harpoon anti-ship missile is a very good missile. And I think that if UK is doing that, and maybe Washington as well will do that, that's going to be a great help for Ukraine, particularly down there in the off the Black Sea, where there's a lot of fighting. Among experts and the people in the business, there's no real difference between offensive and defensive weapons. I mean, something seen as defensive, like anti-aircraft missiles, it could be used on the offensive as well. So it's blurry. It depends on how one uses it. A lot of times, the governments, to avoid controversy, will say we're just providing defensive weapons, but it just depends. But yeah, I'm hoping that. I think it's what's important to remember is we've got to continue to send these weapons. I mean, you noted the violence is continuing in terms of targeting civilians, targeting cities, the war crimes that we see going on. We have to keep in mind that to help keep that at bay, we have to keep the Ukraine military supplied with anti-aircraft missiles, particularly, as well as counter-battery radars. There's things that we need to do and keep doing because they're going to run out of ammunition, and we can't sit there and let that happen. We have to keep up the flow. The whole point about war crimes is really something that happens once the fighting ends. And they do investigations, and the International Court of Justice gets involved, and all of this happens. I mean, remember Milosevic and the Balkan Wars and how long it took to bring to justice these war criminals. So today, in the midst of this fighting, what good does it do? And what I would say is, maybe there's a Russian or two that might be nervous about that. But that aside, I think what it does, it keeps the political pressure on nations to keep up the supply. It helps the nations explain to their people how important it is. And as the outrage increases and increases, I think the political bravery among many of those in our capitals will increase as well, because they feel that political pressure. And I'll give them credit. Even the politicians might see that and get outraged. I know in our Congress, they have put more money into the defense budget, a lot of that based on the outrage that they see from these war crimes. So, but I think your point, though, is well taken. Eventually, the pressure will be to such an extent where allies are going to have to say, we're going to have to do more than provide ammunition. And what that more will be, I don't know. But war crimes, it just increased that steady drum roll of doing as much as we possibly can without causing a backlash and a nuclear exchange. And I think the war crimes drumbeat helps to do that.